Today I'm going to be ranking every character from the Justice League team from worst to best. As always, videos like these are just my opinion. Feel free to leave yours down in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started. Number 6, Justice League Batman. Justice League Batman is very easily the worst character in the Justice League team. He has two passives that I honestly don't like. His first passive gives him armor-piercing attacks on his basic attack hits after performing a special one. But this only works for himself, and it only works for a few seconds. This is basically completely useless since Aquaman already does something very similar and in a much better way. Whereas with Batman, his armor-piercing attacks only work for him, and after performing a special one and only for a short period of time, Aquaman gives his entire team a 100% chance to be doing armor-piercing attacks on their basic attack hits, and there's no timer to it. So I don't know why the developers gave this passive to Batman, since it's just a nerfed version of Aquaman's passive. And speaking of copying passives, his second passive is pretty much an exact replica of Armored Superman's passive, which is that he and his Justice League members will ignore the very first special the opponent will perform on them, whether it be a special 1, a special 2, or a special 3. This passive isn't necessarily a bad passive, but it also isn't really a good passive either. A lot of beginners like passives like these because it helps them out from not taking so much damage, but for me, honestly, I don't feel like it's that big of a deal to stop one special coming at your way. If you're not able to handle that one special attack, you shouldn't be fighting that opponent in the first place. So I'm not a huge fan of this passive, but I could see why some people would like it. Moving on to his special abilities, the only special ability that he has that has an effect to it is his special 2, and that's dot damage. So that's pretty much all I have to say about Justice League Batman. He might be a decent character, but compared to his Justice League teammates, he just isn't really that great, and that's why he's coming in at number 6. Number 5, Mythic Wonder Woman. When Mythic Wonder Woman first came out, everybody wanted her because she could do a lot of damage, especially when you paired her up with Justice League Cyborg and when you threw her in Arena. However, Wonder Woman really started to fall off after a bunch of OP characters started being released, and especially after raids, because even though her passive does work for raids, it's pretty much useless. She also only has one passive, which is a bummer, but her passive is that whenever she defeats an opponent, she takes a percentage of their attack for a certain amount of time. Now this was really great in Arena once upon a time, but now we have so many amazing tanks that honestly I just don't really care that much about this passive. Also in raids, your opponents don't really have that much attack, so taking their attack after killing them isn't really that helpful at all, especially if you're fighting a sub boss, because once you kill them, the game is over. Now the saving grace for this character is in her special abilities. Her special 1 does armor piercing, and it is pretty strong, and her special 2 is a reflective shield. If she didn't have that reflective shield, she would have easily came at the number 6 spot, but we all know how broken reflective shields are, so that's why I bumped her up to number 5. However, I'm still not a big fan of her passive, and the fact that she only has 1, that's why she's coming in at number 5. Number 4, Justice League Aquaman. This guy is one of my favorite team support characters, especially in Arena, because like I was talking about with Justice League Batman, he gives you armor piercing attacks on your basic attack hits, and it's 100%, which is awesome. Now that passive only applies to his Justice League teammates, however, he has another passive that applies for anybody, and that's that whenever Aquaman performs a super move, he will restore any of your teammates that was knocked out, and he will bring them back with 30% of their health. In terms of his special abilities, only one of them has a special effect, and that's his special 2, which is slowing down the power regeneration for the opponent. Now as much as I like this character, I have to admit that his special 2 isn't really that effective, and also the passive where he uses a super move to bring back a fallen teammate can be pretty great if things go wrong. However, most of the time I don't really use that passive. It's still great to have though in case things go wrong. However, his armor piercing passive is my favorite part about him, and it's the most effective. Again, it is really great in Arena because your basic attack hits, which is the shining part of the Justice League team, is going to be going right through any defense that your opponent might have. I will point out though that in raids, your opponents don't have that much defense, so this passive might not be the greatest thing in the world, but it's still effective. And even though this guy's coming in at the number 4 spot, that does not mean that I don't like him. It's just that the number 3, the number 2, and the number 1 spot I feel are better than him. And if you ask me if Justice League Aquaman was worth getting, I would absolutely say yes, because he is a really great support for his great team. Number 3, Justice League Superman. Justice League Superman definitely deserves the title of being a legendary character, and he's one of the few legendary characters that I actually like. And he also has a lot of things going for him. His very first passive is that whenever you have Batman in the game, whether that be as an opponent or as your teammate, he will gain attack, and whether or not you have Wonder Woman as a teammate or an opponent, he will gain health. These effects and these bonuses will also apply to your Batman and your Wonder Woman teammates. This passive is pretty cool because it allows you to pick how much you want to build up Superman, whether that be in attack or in health. And if we exclude who your opponents are going to to be, if you want to have two Batman teammates, you can build up Superman as having a lot of attack. If you want him to have a lot of health, you can pair him up with two Wonder Woman teammates, or if you want to balance things out a little bit more, you can have one Batman teammate and one Wonder Woman teammate so that he can get both attack and health buffs. Moving on to his passive 2, it is a little bit basic, but it could be helpful as well. He basically just gives defense to Justice League teammates and legendary teammates. This could be helpful because you won't have to worry so much about defense in your gear talents, and instead you can add health or attack or whatever you want. His passive 3 can get pretty insane. Basically, whenever you have a teammate tagged in and not Superman, and the opponent tries to perform a special ability on them, Superman will interrupt it by slamming down, and slamming down very, very hard. Keep in mind that this guy is a legendary character, so the damage that it's going to do is absolutely devastating for the opponent. This does, however, have a cooldown, but you shouldn't really worry about that, since the guy you just hit with a slam is probably already dead. Now, I will admit that this passive isn't that helpful in raids, but this guy still has a couple of tricks up his sleeve in his special abilities. His special 1 at first glance doesn't have anything special about it, but if you go read the description, what it does is it takes away any sort of negative effects applied to him, like burn or dot damage. This is pretty great since nowadays a lot of characters have effects to their special abilities, so this is just one really great way to counter that. His special 2 is a reflective shield, however this one is a little bit more special, because whenever it gets hit by a special attack and you block it, it will take a percentage of that damage and it will heal you up, which is just insane, because now not only are you reflecting damage, but you're also healing up from it. Moving on to his special 3, this is the thing that a lot of people like to use in raids because it does a lot of damage. Not only does it just do a lot of damage, but it will also apply burning, which will have the opponent's defense. Needless to say, this guy is an absolute beast, and he definitely lives up to the legendary status. Not only is he a really great Justice League teammate, but he's also a really great character even by himself. However, he is a legendary character, which means that it might be a little bit difficult to get him, but once you get him, you will not be disappointed. Number 2. Justice League the Flash. Justice League the Flash is one of those characters that proves that you don't need to be super complex to be a really great character, because the main selling point for this character is simply that he will add one fast attack hit to your fast attack hits. Now at first glance that might seem really simple and really boring, however keep in mind how great combo builders are to allow your damage dealer to be doing a lot of damage, and also keep in mind that we're talking about the Justice League team. This team benefits greatly from basic attack damage, and if you put this guy on your team, whether you're using him or you're using one of your teammates, if you have really strong basic attack hits and you have fast attack, now you're going to be doing one extra more of those really OP basic attack hits. If your normal basic attack hits are doing 10,000 damage and you have fast attack, that means that you're going to be hitting twice with 10,000 damage. When you add the Flash, you're going to be doing 3 times 10,000 damage, which is awesome. His passive 2 also makes it so that your Justice League teammates have one free unblockable special, whether that be a special 1, a special 2, or a special 3. This is pretty much the opposite of what Justice League Batman does, but me personally, I prefer this one better, because usually whenever you're fighting in arena, you want to finish battles as fast as possible. This allows you to do that. That's why I also prefer Dr. Fate over Horrific Scarecrow. Moving on to his special abilities, again, the first one that you're going to be using is going to be unblockable, and the only special ability that has a special effect to it is a special 2, and that's Stun Chance. I think we can all agree though that Stun Chance isn't really that good, especially since a lot of characters nowadays have stun resistance. But I don't really care, since the main focus of this character is to be doing more fast attack hits, which will not only allow you to do more basic attack damage, but it will also build up your combo meter, which in turn will make you do more damage on your special abilities. Long story short, Justice League the Flash is one of the best support characters in the game, and that's why he's coming in at number 2. Number 1. Justice League Cyborg. I'm going to start off with his special abilities, since the only one that has a special effect to it is his special 2, and it does power drain. Everything else is normal. In terms of his passives, he's immune to stun, and whenever he's targeted by stun, he will gain power, and that's pretty much it. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, that's right. He gives his Justice League teammates 300% more basic attack damage, which is just insane. I know I've been saying that a lot, but this is one of the coolest passives in the game. This guy is the main definition of the Justice League team, because the Justice League team is supposed to be doing a lot of basic attack damage, and they can't do that without Cyborg. Pair him up with Aquaman and with the Flash. Not only are you doing more fast attack hits, but you're also going to be doing armor piercing attack hits, and again with Cyborg, you're going to be doing 300% more damage. Now me personally, I do like using Justice League the Flash as my main damage dealer, but there's no denying that you need to have Justice League Cyborg on your team so he can add that really great buff. And thank God that Cyborg is mainly a robot, because his back must be hurting from carrying the Justice League team so hard. Anyways guys, that's pretty much it. The Justice League team is one of my favorite teams in the game, especially especially in Arena, because you can finish battles really fast, which also means that you're going to be getting points really fast as well. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys later. Make sure to stay safe and stay clean. Oh, and also, just as a quick side note, today's actually going to be my last day at work, so yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to go to work for the very first time in my life. I might not be able to post another video since I'm not going to get out until very late, but tomorrow is technically going to be the very first day of my YouTube work, so I'm very excited for that. I think I'm going to do a live stream to celebrate tomorrow, so stay tuned for that.